sending love now, just like Dr. Stone has told me to do. And then you want to put the arms down and have a seat at the head. And we're going to sit close enough so that the bottom of our feet can make contact with the shoulders. And we're going to place our hands behind us. And we're just going to do some alternating compressions. And if you can think about it, allow your feet to be as soft as possible so that the arch or the natural contour there, the plantar surface, can fit over tops of the shoulders. And we're just going to do alternating compression. I don't even want you to think about it really, like what direction, how many times. Just do it. Just allow yourself to just have that freedom to just compress in. But make sure that you're sitting close enough so that you have a slight bend in your knees. And take it back and forth, in and out. And you'll start to notice how you can get into certain areas or not. If you turn your heels in a little bit more, you can get more at, like, say, the levator. Can you feel that difference there? Right off the superior angle. You can let your heels go into the supraspinatus a little bit. You can let your feet go right into the flat shelf here, which is the acromion shelf. Yep. And just press down on one shoulder so that they get a stretch on that one side. And then release and then press down. Are you getting that flip-flop tan I got going on the top? See that?
You could point out the flip-flop tan.
Yep, flip-flop tan.
I've been working on that. Now, next is we're going to keep the shoulders pinned, and we're going to let our toes come just below the clavicles into the upper fibers of pec major in the beginning of the lung meridian. We're going to move a little closer, and we're going to bring our arms in between our knees with our palms up and come and make contact with the back of the head, and we're going to lift the chin up as close to the sternum as possible. So we're stretching posterior cervicals here and the meridians that pass through there. And we're going to hold at point of resistance. And then we're going to lower the head. And then we're going to take one foot off, and we're going to laterally flex the head and neck to the shoulder. And again, it's not rotation, but rather lateral flexion, so that you're going to stabilize here, and then with the hands, just laterally flex the head and neck to point of resistance, so that this side here gets a nice stretch. The meridians through here get a nice stretch. The scalenes here get a nice stretch. And hold, and allow the body to open up to that stretch.
Is there any compression on the opposite foot, or are you just holding that?
This?
Yeah.
No, it's more of a stabilization. I'm not actively pressing down, if that's what your question is.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, when you do a stretch, and especially a sustained stretch when you're holding it, you want to come out of it slowly. There might be repercussions if you come out too fast. The muscle might bind or spasm. So you want to take it back slowly, and then change, and then the same to the other side. So again, pure lateral flexion, so the nose is always pointing up. And when you do sustained stretch, you know, once you have the stretch, and I'm talking about the person who's doing the work, to bring attention to your breath. Actively breathe in and out of your lower abdomen. Because that sense of awareness comes into your work, into your hands. Opens your heart when you're working. You have a nice sense of breath. And then you're going to come back to neutral. Then you're going to move a little closer. And we're going to do a cervical traction. So there's a couple of different ways of doing this. We'll try first to see how this is. One hand over the other, palm up, underneath the neck. Okay, and this part of your hands are going to hook up underneath the occipital ridge. So you're hooking underneath here. And you're simply going to lean back for cervical traction. Just lean back a few times. Try not to let your thumbs come in and mash down on their carotid arteries. So, sustained traction. Let your body weight go back. And coming out of this, come out slow and just appreciate how much you feel that traction. You'll be amazed at how much that simple movement decompresses the cervical vertebra. And if there's some resistance there, or you're not feeling it, you also have the option of stabilizing the shoulders, putting your hands in position, and then pressing down on the shoulders like this. Might get a little bit more movement that way. Ink. Okay, so next what we're going to do after opening up the neck is we're going to take our fingers, and this is a bilateral approach. We're going to first palpate the mastoid processes on either side. And then we're just going to come down closer to the mat medially, up underneath the occipital ridge, and we're going to hook our fingertips up underneath there, and we're going to inhale, and on the exhale, with our fingertips hooked underneath the occipital ridge, we're going to lean back. So they get another sense of post-cervical traction, but also we're stimulating the points up underneath the occipital ridge, also addressing on a muscular level the suboccipital muscles, obviously. So we're going to continue to do that same motion, continually working medially till we're on either side of the spinous process, approximately of C2, the axis. So we start at the mastoid process, move just inside of it, and hook up underneath the occipital ridge, and we lean back. And then as we inhale, we move our fingers to another spot, hook underneath there, and on the exhale, we lean back. And like I said, this is bilateral, and we're working towards the midline until we find ourselves approximately just immediately lateral of the spinous process of C2. And what I'm going to include in this class is this movement where we're going to take our fingertips and place them right where our thumb was. Here's the mastoid process. We're going to hook our fingertips up underneath the occipital ridge, and then we're going to turn the head and rest our palm on the mat so that it's the weight of their head stimulates those points. Yeah? So the weight of the head is going on our fingertips.
You get about 90 seconds, Randy.
And then we're going to come and do the same other side. And we're going to return it to neutral, and then we're just going to come to end and place our thumbs right on the crown chakra point on the top of the head, and just gently press in with slight pressure towards the feet. And do this a couple of times.